In this video, we're going to look at some team stats from this last season and the playoffs. I wanted to see for myself and show you which teams were featured in the top 5 league leaders in the regular season, as well as the playoffs, to see how the situation changes from regular season play to the postseason play, and which teams actually kick it up a notch or two. I'm going to give you the top 5 team leaders from the season and playoffs for these stats: points per game, rebounds per game, assists per game, blocks, steals, field goal percentages, three-point percentages, free throw percentages. Before I start, please remember to like the video, subscribe, and share if you consider yourself an informed and intelligent NBA fan. I really like having repeat viewers that I can engage in intelligent basketball conversations. I'm not perfect, I don't know everything. I like it when people prove me wrong on my opinion videos and actually change my perception or just agree with me. So here we go. Points per game, top 5 regular season are: number 1, Bucks with 120.1. Number 2, Brooklyn Nets with 118.6. Number 3, Washington Wizards with 116.6. As we can observe here, most points don't win many games. Number 4, Utah Jazz with 116.4. And number 5, Portland Trailblazers with 116.1. As you can see, LA Lakers are nowhere to be seen. They were positioned at number 22 with 109.5. There's only one playoff team that is below them, which is the Miami Heat with 108.1, and the rest below the Lakers didn't make the postseason. Points per game in the playoffs: number 1, Portland with 119.5. Number 2, Utah with 116.9. Number 3, 76ers with 116.3. Number 4, Grizzlies with 115. And number 5, Nuggets with 114.8. As we can see, scoring a lot of points in the playoffs doesn't really get you that far. No wonder they still say defense wins championships. We will see at the end, where I will also include the defensive ratings for the playoff top 5 teams. As we can see, the NBA champion Bucks are nowhere in the top 5 in scoring in the regular season and the playoffs. Rebounds per game, top 5 regular season: number 1, Utah Jazz, 48.3. Number 2, Milwaukee Bucks, 48.1. Number 3, Pelicans, 47.4. Number 4, Grizzlies, 46.5. Number 5, Atlanta Hawks, 45.6. Rebounds per game, top 5 playoffs. Now look at this. Number 1, Milwaukee Bucks, 49.0 rebounds per game. They made the playoffs. They won the finals. They are the NBA champions. Shows that rebounding, super important. Number 2, New York Knicks, 46.4. You could argue that it shows that rebounding not that important. But hey. Number 3, 76ers, 44.7 rebounds. Number 4, Nuggets, 43.6 rebounds. And 5, Wizards, 43.4 rebounds. Now, as we can see, the Bucks are number 1 in rebounds, like I said, per game in the playoffs, which also shows, again, the importance of rebounding. I do have to add that the Bucks are number 1 in offensive rebounds per game, as well as defensive rebounds per game in the playoffs as well. Now, assists per game, top 5 regular season: number 1, Warriors, 27.7. Number 2, Pacers, 27.4. Number 3, Suns, 26.9. Number 4, Grizzlies, 26.9. And number 5, Hornets, 26.8. Assists per game, top 5 playoffs: number 1, 76ers at 24.9. Ben Simmons definitely helps them with that, but hey, can't score. Number 2, Nuggets, 24.9. Number 3, Suns, 23.2. Again, in the 3rd spot, just like the regular season. Number 4, Blazers, 22.8. Number 5, Bucks, 22.8. Another stat where we see the Bucks in the top 5. In the regular season, they were way down at number 14, so we see how much they picked up their play in the playoffs. Blocks per game, top 5 regular season: number 1, Pacers, 6.4. Number 2, 76ers, 6.2. Number 3, Timberwolves, 5.1. Number 4, Raptors, 5.4. Number 5, Lakers, 5.4. Blocks per game, top 5 playoffs. Number 1, Celtics, 9.0. They played against the Nets, so that's impressive. Number 2, 76ers, 6.2. Exactly the same as the regular season. Number 3, Blazers, 5.5. I feel sorry for this team. Many times in the top 5, they keep losing. Number 4, the Nets, 4.8. Number 5, the Wizards, 4.8. Blocks don't change outcomes of games most of the time, as we can see by all the top 5 not really getting that far. Blocks are part of defense though, so we'll see that kind of at the end of the video. Steals per game, top 5 regular season. Number 1, Grizzlies, 9.1. Number 2, 76ers, 9.1, pretty much tied for first. Number 3, Timberwolves, 8.8. Raptors, 8.6. Pacers, 8.5 steals per game. That's regular season. Steals per game, top 5 teams in the playoffs. Grizzlies, 8.0. Number 2, 76ers, 8.0, tied for first with the same team as the regular season. Number 3, Bucks, 7.8, again in the top 5 playoffs. Heat, 7.3, and 5, Nets, 7.1. Field goal percentage, top 5 regular season. Number 1, Nets, 49.4. Number 2, Suns, 49.0. Number 3, Bucks, 48.7. Number 4, Nuggets, 48.5. Number 5, Clippers, 48.2. Now we're getting to field goal percentage, top 5 in the playoffs. Now let's look at this. We got number 1 with the 76ers, 49.6. Number 2, Suns, 48.1. The Suns made the finals. Number 3, the Clippers, 47.7. Clippers would have went a little bit further, maybe even made the finals over the Phoenix Suns if Kawhi Leonard didn't get injured. Number 4, Blazers, 47.5. And number 5, Nets, 47.2% in field goals in the playoffs. Now this is an important one. 3-point percentage, top 5 regular season. As we know, the league is ruled by the 3-point shot these days. So let's see if any of the top 3-point shooting teams advanced far in the playoffs or not. This will be eye-opening. Number 1, Clippers, 41.1. Number 2, Nets, 39.2. Number 3, Knicks, 39.2. Number 4, Jazz, 38.9. And number 5, Bucks, 38.9. That's regular season. Now for the playoffs, let's see if any of those top 3-point shooting teams actually got anywhere close to the NBA Finals. 3-point percentage, top 5 in the playoffs. Number 1, Blazers, 41.3. Nowhere near the finals. Number 2, Jazz, 41.3. Nowhere near the finals. Number 3, 76ers, 39.3. Nowhere near the finals. Mavericks, 38.8, nowhere near the finals. And number 5, Nuggets, 38.2%, nowhere near the finals. As for a league that's ruled by the 3-point shot these days, none of the top 3-point shooting teams even got to sniff the NBA Finals. Let that sink in. Now, free throw percentage, top 5 regular season. Number 1, Clippers, 83.9. Number 2, Suns, 83.4. That's regular season. Number 3, Blazers, 82.3. Number 4, Raptors, 81.5. Number 5, Hawks, 81.2. Now we got free throw percentage, top 5 teams in the playoffs. Nets, 86.8. Nets got injuries, so they didn't get too far, but they were at the top of the free throw percentage. Number 2, Suns, 86.1. Look at that, Finals Western champion. That shows that free throws matter more than 3-pointers. Number 3, Blazers, 85.3. Number 4, Celtics, 82.5. And number 5, Clippers, 82.3. Now we see that the Milwaukee Bucks are nowhere to be seen here, but also remember that they were a great rebounding team, which might have made up a little bit for the lower free throw percentage, especially from Giannis. Now let me show you the top 5 teams for offense and defense in the regular season, and let's see how important that offensive rating and defensive rating was, and if the best teams in those stats did accomplish anything major. Top 5 offensive team rating regular season. Number 1, Nets, 117.3. Number 2, Blazers, 117.1. Number 3, Clippers, 116.7. Number 4, Jazz, 116.5. Number 5, Bucks, 116.5. The NBA champion at top 5 offensive rating. This is regular season though. Now look at the top 5 offensive rating in the playoffs. Number 1, Blazers, 122.1. Number 2, Jazz, 120.1. Number 3, Clippers, now 119.2. Number 4, Nuggets, 116.8. And number 5, Celtics, 115.9. Now for the defensive rating, and let's see how important defense was compared to offense in teams going far in the playoffs and the regular season. As we can see by the previous stats and offensive ratings, especially in the playoffs, none of those top 5 teams in offensive ratings in the playoffs even sniffed the NBA Finals. Defensive rating, top 5 regular season. Lakers, number 1, 106.8. Number 2, 76ers, 107. Number 3, Jazz, 107.5. Number 4, Knicks, 107.8. And number 5, Warriors, 109.4. Defensive rating, top 5 in the playoffs. Milwaukee Bucks, 106.8. Looks like defense is the most important still in the NBA. 76ers, 107.5. The Phoenix Suns, number 3 in defensive rating. Another piece of evidence that defense is the most important in the NBA. Number 4, Nets, 109.3. And number 5, Lakers, 109.3. I just have to say that everybody was bashing the Nets for their defense, but it looks like in the playoffs, they did actually pretty well. I was stunned myself when I saw the stat for each team in the top 5s, especially in the playoffs. From what is said about the game in the NBA these days, you would think the three-point shooting would have a major impact on getting to the finals and winning a title. We can see from these stats that this is not the case. We always think these days that the offense wins championships, and yes, whoever scores more points wins the game, but we can clearly see that whoever can make more stops on defense and have the best defense in the NBA might actually have the highest chance of winning the title. Now, I do have to mention, as many of you probably are already mumbling to yourselves, that if, let's say, the Nets were healthy and had Harden, Irving, and KD all scoring in bunches, that the Bucks defense, even though great, would have not been able to stop them from getting to the NBA Finals. Well, the only thing I can say is that we will never know for certain. This upcoming season, the Bucks will suffer a little bit because they already lost Tucker, an awesome defender, and that will hurt them on the defensive end, and most likely the Nets will be healthy. I guess we will have to wait and see what happens in 2022 playoffs. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate every like, share, and especially a subscription. See you in the next one. Thank you.